I am very good, bro. I'm fantastic.
I realized one thing. Okay, I realized that people who are invested into crypto, they don't say I am good. They say I am very good. Right. I guess it's also because your portfolio must be doing very well. Okay, so maybe Resh, okay. I mean, thanks for also joining us for this first ever session. Okay, this is the one and only exclusively for you. So I think today there will be quite a number of questions that the audience will be interested in. I think right now most of them are totally new. Yeah, so maybe later on we can also share in terms of for people who are new, okay, how they can kind of maybe get started, things like that. I think there's a lot of worries. Maybe you can also find out later on why are they not yet into the crypto space. Okay, right. But maybe we share a little bit about how we get to know each other first, because I think we have been we have known each other since I would say 2006.
Oh, six.
Or 2016, sorry, 2016.
Six. I was in secondary school, bro. No, no, no. I know.
Yeah, maybe we know each other since a long, long time ago. Okay, but I think it's about 8 years, like 8 or 9 years. So we started with stock investing. I know Resh through stock investing. In fact, I get to also know Resh through bodybuilding. Okay, he was actually in bodybuilding at the point of time. I went through a few training and I give up lah. Okay, I remember the first training I did with you. I vomited. I'm not sure if you remember.
I remember very clearly, man. I remember.
Yeah, okay, but again, I think that really comes down to if you want to get result, there must be sacrifices. And I think, for yourself, you have moved from stocks to options. Okay. And I think right now in the crypto space, we have seen huge gains. Maybe you can share out of all the asset class, which one has given you the most,
Yeah.
ROI?
Great. Thank you for asking me, bro. So, so just to share with you very openly, right? So I haven't moved. I do have a very diversified portfolio, right? So I'm still very actively investing in stocks. I still, trade options myself. I also have a crypto portfolio. I also actively invest in properties, right? So I am very simply diversified, guys. If you all believe diversification is important, type in D in the chat, guys. Type in D in the chat if you all believe that diversification is important, right? So, I do have a diversified portfolio, which is very important, and the reason why is because, some things have certain periods of time where it does really, really well, right? So if you are, let's say for example, if you are, let's say for example, if you, okay, I just give you a very simple case scenario, okay, just to give you an example of something that is not doing very well currently right now, right? So in the last 1 year, for example, rental income from properties haven't done very well, right? If you're investing in REITs, for example, REITs have underperformed and dropped like crazy, right? So if you are purely investing for rental, for example, you'd have seen a market of oversupply. You'd have seen a market where rentals are actually dropping. Do you all know this? Type in number one if you all actually are aware of this, right? In Singapore, as in sure there's rental, but there's oversupply, and how many of you all are aware of this, right? REITs and everything dropping like crazy. If you all are aware, right? If you're not aware, just to share with you guys now, right? So if you are purely, let's say, for example, investing for rental income, right? Then the last 1 year would have been very, very painful, right? So the whole idea behind it is you must be diversified so that you're not caught out in one single thing. You must understand all these different asset classes and where there are certain opportunities. And when there's opportunity, you can really pounce and take advantage, right? So, I basically identified a very, very, very huge opportunity in the crypto space, starting from 2022, right? So I've been investing in the crypto space in 2017, right? But in 2022, I don't know if any of you all know, right? But in November of 2022, a very big exchange collapsed, right? Can any of you all type in the chat, guys? What is this exchange that collapsed? And I'll share with you all a very good news as well, right? Do you all know which exchange collapsed in 2022, right? So Adi, Jumali, right? So in 2022 of November 2022, I still remember the date very, very well. FTX basically collapsed, and within days, within weeks, they actually froze all the withdrawals, and nearly $11 billion in customers' assets was essentially frozen, right? And that was a time of peak fear, bro. You can imagine everybody was fearful, everybody was scared like shit, right? Like, and again, it was close. People were saying the entire market is gonna crash and whatever else. What do you think most people are doing, bro? Bowen, can you make a guess?
I guess if I'm not invested, I'll be like, oh, I'm glad I'm not I'm not into FTX. But of course, if I'm in, I'll be worried because it's like, what would happen to my brokerage as well or to my platform as well.
Absolutely, right? You will think like, oh shit, it's Binance. So every other day, people were like, oh, crypto.com not safe. Oh, Binance not safe. Oh, this one not safe. Right? So what would you do? Most people will just like, sell lah, just sell everything, correct or not? Right? So everybody was just like selling out. Why? Because people all just fleeing for safety, right? So and naturally, because it was very, very risky. Can you imagine it was a time of peak fear, it was a time of peak desperation. All right. And for me, I've been in the markets long enough, bro. As in, I've been in the markets for well over, more than 14 years already. And I understand that when there is peak maximum fear, there's also maximum opportunity, right? Type in A if you all agree, guys, right? But then again, guys, easier said than done, lah. Warren Buffett, oh, walao, take advantage, wow, be greedy, people are fearful, say only, talk only, right? But when you really kena, do you have the guts? Do you have the balls, right? Like, seriously, no joke, right? This kind of thing happen. But for me, I really, really saw a huge opportunity, right? Like, absolutely, Elson, most people balls will drop, right? People only get in. But then again, that's the difference between people who make millions of dollars and people who remain status quo, right? Like, so I saw a huge opportunity, and that's when I really doubled down, right? I really, really, truly doubled down on crypto. I really got very, very serious, moved my assets, move some money around and everything, and it paid off massively, man. Bo, just to share with you very openly, like over the last 2020, yeah, since August 2022 till today, I basically managed to more than 10x my portfolio already, right?
Wow, that is amazing.
This period of time, in just that period of time, I managed to more than 10x my portfolio. Later, I'll share with you all some examples of cryptos that I invested in as well, which helped me to get there. But I expect another at least 10x to come, right? But within that period of time, and again, I participated at the literally peak of depression, right? And yeah, man. So again, making that bold move, paid off massively, bro. I'm very, very thankful. And of course, my philosophy very simply is when it does rise and it does go up like crazy, make sure you withdraw your profits, invest into other asset classes and stuff like that, right? So a whole bunch of my money I took out, bought new properties, got new gifts for my wife, right?
Yeah,
So
I saw that. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
so
I'm just curious also lah, because actually when I look at the chart, right, you mentioned November 2022. So that was actually right, even though it was the highest maximum fear, that was the lowest point before the rise up. So you managed to get in at like the
yeah, bro.
best price, the best point. So maybe I just check in with you lah. Other than because like there's maximum fear, is there other things that you were looking at that gives you that confidence, okay, to actually go in?
Okay, so there's two things, right? Two things. The first thing is very simply having had the experience of going through multiple cycles, So after you go through multiple cycles, when you know that when the when there's nighttime, eventually there'll be daytime. You know that when there's winter, eventually there'll be summer,
Yep,
right?
that's right.
No, it's just like this lah, bro. Like, even stock market, same thing, right? Got winter or meta going through very bad shit or whatever it is. Eventually, later it'll be summer again, right? Like, I think we've been through enough cycles to actually know that, right? And I knew for a fact that crypto was an asset class that will be here to stay, right? Of course, I don't know about altcoins and stuff like that, but with regards to at least Bitcoin or Ethereum, for example, I know the sun will shine again. I cannot say the same thing for altcoins, but for the big two, it's a complete no-brainer lah. So that is one of the convictions that I had, right? And the second conviction that I had was very simply understanding that at that point of time, in 2 years' time, 2024, was this massive event called the Bitcoin halving event. And traditionally, if you look at previous cycles, if you study seasonality, if you study historical trends, the year of halving is always a very bullish year. So I was like, okay, cool. In 2 years' time, halving is coming, right? If we at least get back to all-time highs, I know I will at least minimally make crazy, at least 5x, right? Just on Bitcoin alone. So that's it. That's basically the two things that really helped me to give me conviction, bro. Right? Really,
All
really.
right. Fantastic, fantastic. So just to summarize that, so can I say that you didn't know that at that point of time, right, you will be buying at the lowest point, but one thing you know that fear is high means that opportunity is there, and number two, you know that 2 years down the road when the Bitcoin halving, the price will definitely be much higher. So you just want to be in the game at that particular point of time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I just have a question from the audience lah, because I think right now, right, Okay, for those of the people who type zero, they have already missed these 2 years. Okay, so the next 2 years, okay, if I were to go in right now, because right now he has already went past the all-time high, okay, so is there still opportunity for us 2 years later if I were to go in now?
Okay, great question. Can I answer the question by using charts, bro, so people can actually see? I don't
Sure,
want
sure.
I want to really add value today and really be able to share some really good insights, right? So let me share my chart and show you all a few things, guys. Right? Hey, can I ask the audience, how many of you all are familiar with Trading View? Type in number one if you guys are familiar with Trading View. Right? Type in number one if you guys are familiar with Trading View. Okay, great, right? So some of you all are familiar with Trading View. So let me just share something quite interesting. Okay. Okay, great. Okay. So I'm going to share this thing called Trading View so that you guys can actually see. Okay, let me share my screen. Bro, you're asking me brilliant questions, bro.
Of course, of course.
So this is a
Actually, what they are asking, right? I'm not asking for them, I'm also asking for myself.
That's how we learn, bro. Okay, so guys, okay, so I'm gonna just zoom out and actually show you all this chart for Bitcoin, right? So this is a longer time price chart for Bitcoin, right? So let me just go to a 5-year chart, right? So this is BTC USD, okay? This is BTC USD. All right. And I want to share with you guys something which is quite interesting. So what I did, guys, was I added this indicator, and this indicator is basically called Bitcoin halving events, right? So if any of you all are familiar, if you all go to BTC USD, you can add this indicator called Bitcoin halving events, right? And just to show you all very simply, can you all see the yellow lines here? Type in yes if you all can see, right? Can you all see the yellow lines? These are all the different halving event dates, right? So you all can see the second halving. If you all can see, can you all type in the date of the second halving? I just want to know whether you all can see. Can you all type in the date of the second halving event? Come on, guys. Can all of you all please respond? Let me know. The second halving event, right? What's the, right? July what? Right? Hello, what May? See, some people cannot see. Second halving event was July 9, right? May 11, Liz was the third halving event. Liz, you understand? Real fantastic, right? So if you guys can see if you all can see in the screen, right? So again, second halving event July 9, third halving event May 11, right? So if you all can see, after the halving cycles, right? What typically happens, guys? Can you type in the chat? After the halving cycle, typically, a few months after that and all that, what happens? Right? You all can see very clearly that prices, obviously increase, right? They jump, again, Ryan, I'm not too sure what kind of time frame you're looking at, but if you see overall time frame after halving cycle, boom, we actually do fly, right? Boom, we actually do fly. So the question very simply is, are we about to see a similar pattern? I think very, very likely, right? So again, previous patterns have shown that whenever halving happens, so what exactly is this halving thing, right? So essentially halving is when the supply of new Bitcoin issued essentially is halved, right? So when the supply of new Bitcoin issued is halved, and when demand remains the same, or when demand increases, essentially it leads to a supply crunch, prices actually increase, right? So again, the number of Bitcoin issued is only 21 million, right? And it always will remain the same, right? So it's a finite asset. And that's the reason why it will always increase in price eventually. Of course, it is not linear, it can go up and come down. But overall, the whole idea behind it is that it was an asset class that will increase in price over time, right? So anyways, so just to share with you guys, what is the time frame of, from halving all the way to the top, right? So let me just share with you guys, right? So if we click on this ruler right here, right, if you guys can actually see, right, the time period it took for, from halving date all the way to come here, if you guys can see my screen, how many days is it, guys? Can you all tell? How many days is it? Can you all type in the chat? It's written here. 75 bars and how many D? Can you all type in the chat? Hello? Can you all see? It is 525D. Do you all see that? So it's about 525 days. All right. The next one, how long did it take? Let's do a calculation. Right. So exactly from this yellow button all the way to here, the peak, it took about, can you all type in the chat? Right? So it's around 546. So we can tell 差不多, sorry, roughly, right? Roughly the bull cycle is around from halving date all the way to the peak of the bull is roughly about 500 plus days. right? 500 days. Let's just give a rough take. That's about it lasts typically about 500 days. Go back first cycle, all the way through is very, very similar. It's around 500 days, right? So the last halving cycle, which just happened, a couple of months, 2 months ago, was April 20th, right? So if you take April 20th plus 500 days, we're looking at a bull cycle that will probably last into September of 2025. Right? Can all of you type in September 25 in the chat, guys? Right? So all the way up to about September 2025. Right? That is when we actually see this bull market actually going on till, right? So again, let me just stress one thing, right? Bull market doesn't mean one straight line. Of course, there will be ups, there will be times where it drops, there are times where it goes up, comes down, goes up again, right? It's not one linear line. It's not like every day go up, no such thing, right? There will be times where it drops, there'll be times where it rises like crazy, and then it drops and whatever else, right? But very, very simply, this is my personal prediction. Again, I use stats. I just use stats to basically go and count and see everything. My personal prediction is that by September 2025, where we see the highs and stuff like that, I expect Bitcoin to be anywhere between about 150 to 180,000. Right? So that is where I foresee Bitcoin to be, roughly around 150 to 180,000, right? So today we're sitting at a price point of about $61,000, right? So, to me, it is still a very, very good price compared to what's about to come very, very soon. Okay, so yeah, man. So I feel very excited. I feel very motivated, and I can't wait to see what's about to come, bro. So anyway, so that's my my 2 cents on it.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, thanks for sharing this also. Yeah, but anyway, I got a shock earlier on when you spoke Chinese, lah. So, are you preparing to go China for some presentation? Okay, but anyway, okay, but so the question that I want to ask, okay, on behalf of the audience, right, is that because you actually 10x your portfolio, lah. Okay, so if I were to follow this advice, okay, 500 days later, I'll probably double, okay, or maybe at most. Okay, it's about doubling of my account. But how do I get to 10x? I know that doubling of account in 2 years is probably something that you can do a lot better. So can you share with us more in terms of, other than investing into, this is based on Bitcoin itself, how can we potentially get even higher ROI during this period of time?
Very good question. Hey, guys, if you all think Bowen is asking fantastic questions, can all of you all type in G for great, guys? If like Bowen is asking all the questions that's on your mind, you're like, wow, Bowen, sibei sui lah, right? Type in G in the chat, right? Great guy, fantastic. Okay, that's why you're here. Right, Bowen, very, very good. That's why I want you, bro. Right, Wendy, that's why give Bowen a raise, please. Right, so okay, anyways, so your question was, so how do I actually achieve that, right? So let me just share with you all something. So number one, the first thing that I want to share is this, right? The first thing which I want to share very simply is, guys, look, Bitcoin is great, right? Okay. There are two ways. There are two ways in which you can actually potentially get a much higher return. Okay. There are two ways. The first way, very simply, is by looking at alternate coins, right? So alternate coins is anything outside of Bitcoin. Okay. There are pros and there's cons. Okay. There's pros and there's cons. Right. So the pro, very simply, is that if you're investing in the correct alternate coin, right? Like basically, what's the alternate coin? Basically, any coin that is not Bitcoin, right? If you're investing in the correct alternate coin, dudes, the coins can go absolutely nuts, right? Maybe they can go 10x, 20x, for example, right? The scary part, very simply, is that they don't hold any. You can't do traditional valuation. So if you're familiar with value investing, like what Bowen teach you guys, for some of you all, you can't do valuations, and of course they can be highly volatile. You see what I'm saying? All right. So for people who got heart problem, maybe not so recommended. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not so recommended, right? Like for people who have very, very, who are very scared, cannot take the drops and all that. Alternate coins can be pretty much like a crazy roller coaster, right? Like if you really, really get a good one and good timing, then good for you. But they can give you a very, very big roller coaster. So number one, very simply, is by investing in good altcoins. All right, like solid altcoins. So that's number one. So let's say, for example, you're looking at like Solana and whatever else. So a lot of people talk about, wow, Solana, very good. But in the bear cycle, Bowen, right? In the bear cycle, right? Dude, I kid you not, right? Solana went from $250, bro, and it dropped to $8 right?
It's like how many percent? 90, 90, 97, 98?
$50 to $8, you know. Guys, like if you're holding on to the position, how would you feel? You tell me lah, right? You know, it dropped, you know, wow, dropped to $50. People say, wow, fantastic, damn good. Then jialat dropped to $30. People say, wow, very good. Then dropped to $20, wow, jialat. Right? Then dropped to $10, then dropped to $8. Like, how will you feel? Right? Hindsight, everything is very good, lah, right? But when you drop like that, wow, your boss also drop, you know. Right? Crazy, man. I saw the entire drop. I was like, every point was saying, wow, very good, until you lose hope, right? You're like, what's gonna happen? Crazy. So, anyways, you know, dropped to $8. And today, right? So again, if you happen to buy at the bottom, right, it went from $8 right now is about 140 bucks. All right, like dude, in the last 2 years alone, right? So eventually I bought it back once it started rising. $8 to 140 bucks in the last like 12 months, bro. Wow, how many times gain is that? Right. So, anyways, but then again, if you're investing before, wow, scary as shit. Right. So, anyways, so this is the scary part about altcoins, lah, right? They can really move quite, crazily, right? And you want to be on the right direction. So that's number one. And number two, to be able to achieve more than that 2x gain, for example, is by employing what we call leverage. Right, it's by employing leverage. Of course, leverage wise, if you want to learn how to do it properly, you need to learn how to do it properly. So what is leverage? Leverage very simply means that, instead of just buying and paying full cash, you can, in crypto, for example, you can buy your Bitcoin with half the money, right? So essentially, let's say, for example, 61,000, I want to buy one Bitcoin. I don't have to use $61,000. I can use half the price to actually go and leverage and buy one entire Bitcoin with 50% of my money, right? So the whole idea behind it is that if Bitcoin actually doubles, you essentially get 2 times of the gains, right? So if you go up 2x, you basically make 4x, right? Or it depends on how much leverage you want to use, lah, right? So again, the danger with that very simply is you need to know how to be conservative. You need to know how to use it properly, right? If you don't know how to use it, you can basically like completely burn yourself, lah, right? But again, there's two ways, guys, with regards to how do you achieve outsized gains. Like how do I 10x from here? Two things, right? Altcoins and very simply employing leverage, right? These are the two main things. And that's basically my specialty, lah, bro, right? That's my specialty.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, we all know that leverage is a double-edged sword, lah. So of course you can make a lot of money, you can also lose a lot of money. But I think important is also, we always talk about this thing called portfolio sizing, lah. How much you actually risk. A lot of people they lose a lot, right? It's because they are over doing their risk. Okay, too much risk involved, lah. Okay. Now the thing that I also want to talk about, because you talk about altcoin, I mean in the last episode, okay, last week you talk about seasonality. Okay, so personally for me, I also believe that there are certain period of times where certain coin or certain sector of the coin will outperform the rest. So actually right now, okay, let's say we are looking at altcoin itself, lah. I want even higher ROI. Okay, yeah. What are the sectors that personally you are actually focusing on right now?
Oh, come on, man. I'm going to drop some gold. I'm so jealous of everyone who's here today because I'm going to give you all some $1 million tips. Are you guys ready for the $1 million tips, guys? Type in some dollar signs if you guys are ready. Let me give you all some gold from Resh's brain, right? Okay, so I'll share with you all something very, very interesting. Okay, so listen to this very carefully. Okay, so guys, y'all are damn soon, right? Next week, right? And this is pretty much almost 90% confirmed. Okay, next week, July 2nd, we are about to see Ethereum's ETF being launched. All right, Ethereum's ETF being launched, right? So this is a very, very big news. January 10th, right? Bitcoin's ETF was launched, and very simply now on July 2nd, we are very likely to see Ethereum's ETF being launched, right? So what is this ETF? ETF very simply is an exchange traded fund, right? Where companies like BlackRock, Fidelity and all that, they're creating ETFs for their investors to basically be able to buy a little bit easier into all these different asset classes, right? So, pension funds are, including Bitcoin as part of their portfolio allocation and all that, right? So it's very, very exciting times. And, once this ETF is launched, we will very likely see these funds buying billions of dollars worth of Ethereum, right? And this is happening next week. So when we see that kind of inflow that will actually explode into Ethereum, for example, what is likely to happen? Can you all make a guess? Right, with regards to Ethereum's price, at least in the longer term, right? Can you all tell me? Can you all make a guess? Can you all type in the chat? What is likely to happen? All right. So very, very simply, Ryan is saying price spike, right? Price increase, price spike. Great, right? So let me show you all with actual stats. What happened for Bitcoin? Okay, so let's look at a 1 year daily chart. Okay, I'm going to share about exactly. Quite interesting, I say. At least I find it interesting. Okay, so this was in January, guys. This was in January, right? January 10th. This was the exact date. You all see this candle here? This was the exact date that Bitcoin actually had their their Bitcoin ETF being approved, right? And literally it was rising into that. Then once the news got announced, jialat, man. So it was at, if you all can see, it was roughly around here at about 46,000. And after it was announced, guys, can you all see the price pattern? What actually happened after this particular date? After 10 January, what happened, guys? Can you all see? Right, this was 10 January. After that, what happened? Guys, boing, drop all the way to here, no? Do you all see? All right, so 10 January was when it was announced. All right, and after that, walao jialat, drop all the way here. Do you all see that? All right, so why? Resh, how come? I thought you say Bitcoin ETF was very good, whatever. Guys, so Bowen will be very, very familiar with this, right? There is this thing in the financial markets which we call buy the rumor, sell the news, right? And very simply, this very big news is typically a sell the news event. Can all of you type in sell the news? Right? Sell the news, right? Sell the news, sell the news, sell the news. Can you all type in the chat? Just type in these three words, sell the news event, right? But after this sell-off happened, then after that, what happened, guys? After the sell-off happened, then what happened? Bloody hell, the damn thing just fly, right? Literally went down, took a bit of a retracement, came down to 38,000, then bugger flew to 73,000. Do you all see that? Flew all the way, non-stop. Boom, 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 boom. In 1 month, it more than freaking double. If you all can see, right? Huge, massive increase, right? So, and let me explain the whole rationale. So when this event happens, right, when it's announced, right, the big boys start selling it down, right? They try to pump it, as in try to very, very simply pump it down to scare off all the retail investors so they can actually load up like crazy. You see what I'm saying? And this is exactly what the big boys will do because they understand, guys, they're not investing for the next 1 day. Bro, they don't care about 1 day. They're looking in generations, right? But they want to discount, get better price. Walao, ETF already announced, let's try to bring down the price so that they can do what, guys? Can you all make a guess? What do you all think the big boys want to do? Right? They want to sell off so they can do what? So they can, come on. So they can buy in truckloads. You understand? They want to shake off all these, these small boys, right? Make all of you all scared so that they can actually go and load up like crazy, right? Why? Because eventually they know the price, right? So again, ETF announce, price drop, then price go crazy. Do you all see that? Right? So I expect something very, 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 very similar. That's exactly right, right? Why? Because they want to sell off so they can actually load up in discount with billions of dollars. So I expect something very, very similar to happen with Ethereum very, very soon, right? So again, with Ethereum, right after the news is announced, if it's confirmed, we can possibly see a sell the news event. But when we see a sell the news on Ethereum, for example, what do you want to do, guys? No joke. Come on, guys. Can you all please type in the chat? I think I'm very, very clear. What do you guys want to do? Right? This is not financial advice, but again, I'm just sharing, right? This kind of pattern will very, very likely play out again, right? Very, very likely we will see it play out again. So again, Ethereum currently right now, let's have a look, right? Let me give you the price points and everything, right? So if you all have a look, Ethereum currently right now, we are sitting at about 3,004, if you guys can see, right? So we are sitting at about 3,004, right? So so again, with the July 2nd event happening here, right? On this candle somewhere here, this is when it's actually happening. So if we do see a retracement back down to about 3,200 to about $3,000, right about here, I tell you, man, right? Walao, exactly right here. As in, okay, I shouldn't tell you what you should do, but I tell you what I will do. Okay, I'll tell you what Resh will do. Okay, so you do, don't do, up to you, but this is what Resh will do, right? So if I see a sell the news event actually happen on July 2nd, if I see a retracement back down to this level, 3,000, I will load my freaking truck, right? I will load the entire truck. Why? Because I expect very simply the price to, the previous high was basically 4,008, right? So it don't need to say like confirm. Okay, I cannot say confirm plus shop, all these things. This is recorded. But okay, let me just be myself, right? It will very, very likely retest previous highs. Previous highs for Ethereum was about 4,008, right? So if we do see a retracement back here, bro, but it's gonna fly all the way here. This is where I will look, as in this is where it will likely go, right? So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to making some good money in the next month, bro.
All right, cool. Okay, so the question next that I wanted to ask you is, so if it goes up to 4,007, would you sell them away and take profit, or what will be your exit plan?
Surely, bro. Surely, surely, surely. So, okay. So, with regards to crypto, bro, I want to share with you something which is very, very, very interesting, right? So, prices can rise very quickly, right? Prices can really rise very quickly. But I can share you something else. The prices can fall even faster.
Of course, way faster.
Prices can rise very quickly, but prices can also fall very fast, right? So it's similar in other asset classes as well, right? There's this saying called prices climb up the staircase and fall down the elevator, right? So again, like go up slow, like wow, you wait so long for it to go up, then suddenly wow, jialat, boom, drop all the way back down, right? So it is something that is it's a nature of the markets, right? It's the nature of the markets, which is why very, very, very important, right? I just want to share with you guys something, which is why it's very, very, very important to very simply, I always share my guys to take out your profits, right? Not just sell into US dollars, not just sell into like, oh, USDT, for example, or USD. No, no, no. I'm talking about actually really selling out and actually withdrawing your money, right? So I have this theory, Bowen, which I very simply call, and I practice this for stocks also, bro. Even for stocks also, I practice the same thing. Again, some people might agree, some people might disagree, but this is my personal practice. This is my belief. After being in the industry, after trading for so long, I have basically made my money in paper assets and kept my money in hard assets. Making money and keeping money, two different skill sets, right? Anybody can make money, but whether you can keep the profits is another thing, right? So I make my money through paper assets, trade options and, or buy stocks lah, buy crypto, for example. These are all paper digital assets, right? Which I make my money from. But very simply, I want to retain and preserve for long-term wealth. And essentially, I take the profits and then I reinvest it into hard assets. Hard assets is like properties, for example, my business and whatever else. These are high assets which I actually reinvest into. Very, very important principle, right? So for me, Ethereum got to 48. Do I take profit? Confirm plus short, bro, right? 100%. My profits are out. I will, profits are out, not just sell, but withdraw back into Singapore dollar into my bank account, right? That's something that I will always do. So I always look at it as a way in which I can retain money now, right? Again, I can share with you all, right? So again, if you all can see, right? Walao, you wait all the way January, you hold, right, all the way. Then, you never sell here, bam, drop all the way down, waiting for months before you can recover again. It's part and parcel on, it's part and parcel. So the whole idea is whenever you see crazy pumps, take some profits lah, right? You never hurts to take profits, right? So can all of you all please write down, take profits in the chat, guys. Very, very important principle. Cho, I'll answer your question in a bit. Right?
All right, great. And okay, so I have a part two to this lah. Okay, so since this is your game plan, to buy when it dip and then when it reach 4,007, you will take profit. Will you be doing leverage on this position?
Surely.
And how much leverage?
Okay, so for me lah, personally, right? For me personally, bro, I share with you, it really depends on people's YOLO lah. I think we have met a lot of friends who are quite crazy one, you know what I'm talking about, right? Who go crazy, go big or go home, then they go home, right? So I think we've seen many examples of people who actually do that. So for me, bro, essentially in terms of leverage wise, for me personally, right, I don't actually take anything more than 2 times leverage, right? I basically use about 2x leverage, and that's pretty much the maximum kind of leverage that I use, right? Again, to be honest, if let's say, for example, you are using a much smaller capital, for example, right? Maybe you might need to up your NT, up the risk factor a little bit more so that you can actually see your portfolio grow better, right? So that's something that, I used to do when I had a smaller portfolio as well, right? But the whole idea behind it is that as your capital goes up, for example, you can dial down your risk factor. You know what I'm trying to say? right? So let's say, for example, if a person only has $1,000, for him to have meaningful gain in his portfolio, he will need to up the ante a bit, right? He'll need to basically take on a bit more leverage. So if you ask me, I don't use anything more than 2x. Do I recommend people to use anything more than that? It depends on your portfolio, your risk appetite, right? So if you can take on a little bit more risk, for example, then sure, you can up the ante, be able to invest with increased leverage. So it really, really depends, right? So Sharon, just to answer your question, take out how many percent of profits. All right. The whole idea is at least make sure you take out what you initially invested. Right. The whole point of investing in crypto is eventually to get a position where you're just purely trading with profits. You understand? Right. So minimally to initially take out your initial capital. So let's say you put in 5K, for example, wow, go up to 7K, 8K, for example, at least take out that 5K. Am I clear, Sharon? C for clear? Clear? Okay, great. Thank you very much, Sharon. Right. So, won't did I answer your question?
Yep, definitely. Okay, well, just now I remember I got another question, but suddenly it disappeared. Okay, let me try to recall. Okay, yes, I remember. Okay, so I think everybody can see the opportunity. How many of you have gotten a lot of value from Resh so far? Can you just type in V for value? Okay, fantastic. Only one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so everybody help us to participate actively. Okay, the more you give us, the more our speaker will also give to all of you. Just join. Okay. Okay, so very important question I want to ask Resh also, because I think you have a very, very strong mission to create 50 millionaire. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
50 millionaire lah. So can I just check in terms of like how many millionaire have you created so far? And let's say, okay, I want to be the next, I want to be part of this 50 millionaire lah. Is there like a capital requirement that I need to have? Maybe I need to start off with 2 million. I know. Okay, I need to start off with like $10,000, or is there any criteria to be part of this?
So, is there any criteria? Of course, like guys, yeah, money makes money, right? So you need to have some capital, right, to actually start. And let's be honest, right? If I only have $1,000, I'm gonna millionaire next year. Not gonna happen now, right? So I just share with you guys. This is again from my personal experience. Okay, just my own personal experience. The last bull cycle, which was the last halving cycle, which I experienced in 2021. This was truly life-changing for me, right? Like seriously, like Bowen has been there. Like I basically was able to utilize my profits from crypto and options. Like it was enough, bro, guys, I'm not even joking. Like it was enough for me to buy a landed property, right? Like $3 million over dollars. It was quite crazy, but that was simply because of like it was crazy. COVID rise and everything was absolutely insane, right? And I personally managed to more than 20 times, right? Like that was what I experienced during the COVID cycle, right? So again, during a bull cycle, I'm telling you all in crypto, what is likely, and again, I'm talking about from this point onwards, I tell you, there will be many, many different tokens and different opportunities which can at least minimally go, 5 to 10 times of its current value, right? This is something that I expect to see and will very, very likely see in the next few months, right? Next few months. I can just share you something. The real parabolic rise, guys, the real crazy parabolic rise in crypto will begin in Q4. Can all of you type in Q4 in the chat, guys? Q4. I hope you all understand what Q4 is. Q4. Can all of you type in Q4? The crazy parabolic rise. Whatever's going to happen in July, August, September, honestly speaking, it'll be very choppy, right? It will go up in July, then come back down. September, it'll drop. It will still be choppy. But the real crazy rise, if you all go and look at the Bitcoin halving events, if you all look at this event before, right, what I shared previously, if you all look at a parabolic rise, typically that's Q4. Right? That means October onwards. Right? October, November, December, going to first quarter, I tell you, it'll be xiao one, right? And during that period of time, to be able to see at least 10x on a portfolio, I believe that it'll be very, very possible. All right. So work the numbers backwards, All right, work the numbers backwards with regards to how much capital you basically likely have to put aside. All right. But of course, at the end of the day, right, in crypto, I always say this one thing. Please, put aside some money that you can afford to put aside. Don't use the sum of money that will make you lose sleep or whatever it is, right? So that is basically the kind of capital you're looking at to be able to get to at least $1 million, right? So if you do have that, it's something that I can definitely work with you with to get to at least to $1 million.
All right, fantastic. Wow, that was really, really amazing. And I think for anybody who actually wants to be part of this, okay, and you mentioned about risk, I think very important is also to take out your profit. I think that's something that is that's something that we need to learn as well. Okay, in fact, if you take back your capital, what is your risk? It's literally 0%. So there's literally no risk. There's only upside. There's no downside. Right. So I think in all the investing or all the asset class, I always mention and always encourage my students, okay, you need to find the shortest way or the fastest way to make your first 100%. Then of course you take back your capital. But of course, that is for people with a relatively decent amount. If you start off with 1,000, you make another 1,000, I don't think you want to take it, kind of a little bit pointless as well. So we want to start off somewhere. I think that is where the market opportunity is here. But very importantly, your portfolio sizing is also something that is really, really important. Okay, so maybe we also throw in certain question, or anybody, if you have any question, maybe we can also take in some Q&A. But in the meantime, maybe I just check in with Resh as well. So for people who have not gotten into the crypto space, okay, what do you think is the first step that they need to do?
The first step they can do, bro. The first step they can do very simply is this, right? So I'll share with you the first step. The first step very simply is give me 2 seconds. The first step very simply is to follow me on Instagram, right? So if they do follow me on Instagram, there is one way in which they can basically get some information. I do share very, very regularly and stuff like that. So if you want to look me on Instagram, basically my Instagram handle is sixpack investor, right? So I've just put it in the chat, right? So if any of you all have IG, can you do me a favor? Just go and follow Resh, right? So I can basically, so on there, I will be sharing a lot of different things, a lot of different opportunities and stuff. So it's very, very important to get correct information and stuff. So follow me on IG, that's obviously number one. Number two, obviously, if you want to do it, you want to get properly educated, right? Because why? On YouTube, you have tons of information, but you don't know whether this information is whether the influencers get paid to talk about this particular crypto and whatever not. So quite scary, I guess. Please don't go and fall down the trap of, hey, look at the top whatever tokens I'm buying in September. People like look at that kind of things, but they don't know that some of these influencers are actually paid to go and market and pump these coins and stuff, right? So again, it's important to have proper education. Go and always, as we always say, first invest in yourself. So I think that's very, very important. One of the ways is follow me. I'll be sharing a lot of good stuff, right? So that's basically one of the very, very important things, lah.
Fantastic. Yeah. One of the sentence, okay, or rather phrases that I always believe in is take care of the downside and the upside will take care of itself. So I think education is something why we emphasize so much on education is because, everybody is looking for the gains, the ROI. But one thing that they actually miss out is if you do not have the correct knowledge, if you're going on the wrong foot, potentially you might lose even more. So ultimately we want people to be closer to their dreams and not, getting further and further away, because they do a lot of stupid things, that they know that they should avoid, but yet because of the emotions and everything, sometimes we tend to do the wrong things as well. All right. So of course, once again, I think we want to thank Resh, okay, for sharing. Anybody got any question? Maybe we just take a 1 or 2 question before we wrap up.
Can I share a few questions, right? So Fred, question, Cho is asking a question. Cho, will I teach in coming bootcamp 12 July? Yes, I'll be the one sharing and teaching. Can you explain about July gift? Right. So on Rune, Pepe, Super can go up 30-40%. I don't see why not, right? So that's the reason why it's my gift to you guys. Right. So please have a look at them. These are all personal coins that I actually have, right? Am I pretty confident? Yes, absolutely. ZC, what's your prediction for Ethereum in 2025, right? So what's my prediction? Price prediction, right? So again, the first thing that I feel very simply, personally for myself, I really, really, truly feel that Ethereum is great, right? There's a lot of use cases. It will probably go up a lot higher. Probably, if I look at the price projection and where I feel it's going to go, I think anywhere between 6,000 to 7,000, right, is something that I think it will be an easy hit for Ethereum, right, in the next couple of months, right? But of course, guys, I just want to be very, very upfront, right? Ethereum, Bitcoin, they're fantastic, but these are the biggest blue chips, right? So you don't expect life-changing gains, right? A little bit hard to expect life-changing gains. Sure, they go up 60%, 70%, for example. Will it change your life? I don't know. Probably not, right? Unless you're investing crazy amounts of money, right? So Chu is asking, will Ethereum jump these few days and drop a bit and rise again after 2nd July? So again, like I said, very, very likely to be a sell the news event after 2nd July. So there'll be a rise going into the event, right? That means, in the next couple of days, we'll probably see a rise going into the event. And then when the event happens, probably a drop before it rises back up again. So that's exactly how it will likely play out. And it's playing out exactly as I said, right? In the last, if you look at the last day and whatever not, we've seen a rise, continue to go up a bit until 2nd July before it actually does do a retracement. Okay. I'm new to crypto. Should I open an account using Binance? Absolutely, right? So Ben, if you're from Singapore, you can use Binance, no problems. Right. So do that. Right. Any other questions? Right. So guys, if you have any questions, you want to relay any questions to me or whatever not, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Just message me on Instagram, but please, guys, make sure you follow the right Resh. Right. There's always a lot of imposter Bowens, fake Shonsia, fake Resh. Right. So please, the proper handle is Six Pack Investor, not any other investor, right?
If there's any APEC investor, must be a fake one.
So this is just to share with you guys, for any of you all who have questions, want to ask me any questions, right? This is basically my handle. I just share one more time, right? And if any of you all have any questions, please feel free to reach out and ask anything, right?
All right, fantastic. So everybody, can we all type in CCC, clap for Resh? Okay, I think that is amazing. Okay, I'm sure a lot of you have gotten a lot of value. Now, I think, how many of you want to hear more from Resh? You want to learn more from Resh? Can you just type in me in the chat? Okay, we have a lot of people who wants to. So Resh, can we officially invite you again to our ETC, for another session to share even more?
Be honest, dude, I have so much more, man. I got so many more lobangs for next week to share, but then, maybe another day, lah, right? Like, again, guys, my style very simply is I like to deliver and over deliver and give you all a lot and far and above, right? So I have a lot more to share, a lot more lobangs to share. So, if you invite me, I'll be more than happy to teach, bro.